why did it matter that he was both God and man, and not, instead of just being like equally God and man, instead of just being I'm 100% God, just on the earth now.
Right.
Yeah.
I can bypass the laws of the universe because I'm God. I can do what I want. I made them. I'm just here.
Yeah.
Or
I'm 100%
like, hey,
human.
like that person over there, that human over there. I'm just gonna let him like take it. You know, like why did it matter he was both God and man? How does that fit in the equation? Why is that important?
Yeah. Great question. And it's super important actually, because like you were saying, if he's like, oh, I'm just going to come out here and like take care of everything right now because I'm God. There would be no like personal relationship, but also it comes down to the reason why we can trust him so much is because he's been through what we've been through. Like that's one of the many reasons like we can trust him. Because you look at his life here on earth as fully human, but also fully God, he still is tempted and tried and has to grow up and learn his language and like still do things that we can relate to so well.
How to be potty trained.
Literally.
Yeah.
So
and real quick, sorry, and going back to you a couple episodes ago, didn't even entertain. Sin doesn't even entertain the thought of things. He didn't even
not a
entertain
single sinful thought,
right? Which is crazy.
Is like,
in the context of being tempted, like you brought up, like in the wilderness. Insane. Keep going.
And the thing is with his temptation, he was tempted in all ways that we were too. So maybe he, you know, they didn't have McDonald's, so they didn't have the Big Mac, and he's like, I'm on a diet, but like the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life fits in everything that we go through. Everything, like you know, trying to get a better job for a bigger paycheck, like lust of the flesh or pride of life, right? Trying to do this and that, all these different things, and so him still having to make a decision to say like, I know I'm God, but this option is here. He's like, I'm showing you that I'm going to choose the better option. Yeah. And like be that like leader. And so I think, the mixture of both is huge, because then he also couldn't do things that us humans could do with being fully God, right? Like raising back from the dead by himself, like, right? Like all of that things. And so, and all the other amazing things that you need for God. But
well, I think about it this way too, is that like, think about like all the men that God used before, you know, that were just like fully human, right? Yeah. Where you talk about like, you know, Abraham or Moses or David, like, you know, like the people that we think are the greats, or like even Saul or Samson, and all these people, like,
Samson's crazy. You should
I
reread
know.
that. Not you listener. You should reread that.
Dude, I love
it's not
so
just the it was a
so
strong
good.
bro video thing.
Yeah.
Brother out here.
Yeah. Brother out here.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Just like murking people.
Kind of a jerk, low key.
Yeah. Yeah. But like
high key.
Yeah. But like he used like all of these men, but they still fell short because they got
1000%.
distracted, or they got rushed, or, you know, like God, who said David is a man after my own heart, even him, he fell. And so it's like if you look at it in a standpoint of like why it's important, it's like, well, because also like look at all the people that God used in the Bible that still fell short.
Yeah. And I think it comes back to you need something bigger than outside of yourself. So if he was just human, we could be like, well, you're just human and so am I. So what makes you even better? Or if he was just God, it'd be like, well, you're such a bigger being than us, so we could never like make it there. We can't even get up there. I could never reach that point of purity, or I could never reach that point of perfection or righteousness, because you're just God. And he's like, I'm gonna mash the two together so that you have no excuse, so that we can relate, and so that like you can know that I really love you and care for you. So
speaking of no excuse.
Well, hold on. Let's just finish with that before we jump into that. But same thing. This just popped in my head. If you are also fully God, it like cheapens his blood. Does that make sense? It's like him cheating. He didn't live a sinless life as a human at that point.
He didn't actually live a sinless life.
It would have been like a loophole thing in the system that wouldn't have actually had the same power.
Like, you've only been ever righteous, and you've never even had the opportunity to sin like I have to deal with every day.
Yeah.
And you're talking about sacrifice too. Like God did demand animal sacrifice up to that point, like for all time.
Yeah.
And then Jesus being fully human. was able to stand in humanity's place as the ultimate substitute.
Right.
For
The
us.
ultimate
Yeah.
justification.
Yeah.
Yeah, because sin demands death ultimately, right? So
Mhm.
that's why with the first sin, like God was like, all right, well, you're naked, so I'm gonna have to kill this animal to clothe you. And that was the
Mhm.
first thing of like, from this point on, every sin's gonna demand death. And until Jesus came,
Mhm.
like there it was, the final justification of like this blood on the cross
Well, there's life in the
set
blood.
like,
Mhm.
yeah,
Mhm.
this is it. Like every sin after this and before this, right? Like this blood is paying for it.
Mhm.
And so just like you were saying, like, yeah, if it was just I'm just a big God that has never understood, even though he has, but like he's never understood what we've gone through. Like I think there, like you said, there would have been loopholes and just
Yeah.
like literally people are like, he doesn't understand me.
Yeah.
But like you cannot read the whole Bible and be like, God doesn't understand me.
Well,
Here's Leviticus 17. It's Old Testament, but it's going back from animal sacrifice
Mhm.
and tying it into Jesus. This is like a foreshadowing. Leviticus 17, which low-key Leviticus gets hate, but it's actually a really great
Yeah, it's good.
book. Numbers is the one that's
Yeah,
annoying.
I agree.
Numbers,
Oh,
kinda
Numbers-
crazy. Leviticus
Numbers
is
and
beautiful.
Thank you, Lord,
Chronicles.
but Numbers is
Chronicles is heavy
both of
too.
them.
I'm just-
Leviticus is kind of fire.
No,
Yeah.
Chronicles is fun. It's like a movie. Numbers is like, dude, there's a billion like tribes, and I get you've got like not tribes, but like people. in the
Begot
tribes.
has
this,
500,000
begot that.
people.
Yeah.
Literally,
Yeah.
this genealogy, I get it, the importance, but I'm like, Leviticus is actually like, super beautiful though. But Leviticus 17:11, it says, "For the life of the flesh is in the blood, and I've given it to you upon the altar to make an atonement for your souls. For
Yeah.
it's the blood that maketh an atonement." Sorry, King James Version, maketh an atonement for the soul. That's talking about
So good.
sacrifice,
Yeah.
but it points back to Jesus, like what you're saying.
1000%.
Like he was human, like he worked in the context of that same atonement. Like in this, it's talking about like animal sacrifice, but it still like points back to Jesus even in that, which is
Yeah.
so dope.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Set up.
Jesus is throughout the entire Bible, which is crazy. Like when
Yeah.
you read it,
Yeah,
you're like,
it's
this
all
is Jesus.
yeah.
And then you're reading like Old Testament, everything, because everything there is like pointing to him, and then
Yeah.
everything.
Setting the scene.
Yeah, it's just so cool.
Yeah.
Some also say that he was even present in the Old Testament. If you get into, there's like different beliefs and theories and things, but if you get into the language, like the nitty gritty,
Yeah.
original language of like the angel of the Lord,
Yeah. Wow.
you see that present frequently in the Old
Mhm.
Testament. That wording, the angel of the Lord. Again, it's all theories, but
I mean, he was there.
that and well, yeah, he was there, but like and that and then like the Melchizedek stuff.
Oh yeah, true.
As referenced in Hebrews. It's back into a conversation with Abraham. But some even say, some commentaries and scholars even say that whenever you see angel of the Lord, it was Jesus manifest on the earth.
That's cool.
Mm,
It wasn't just like this is just an angel. Just a little insertion.
yeah.
That's cool.
Look into it, believe it, don't, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But it's just
That's
an
good.
interesting thing.
You want to do your thing
No, I
and
was
then we
gonna
can talk
do that.
about divinity?
No, I was gonna say something. We'll come back to that. Because it has to be at a point where it's like,
At
I
just
can
the
use,
right time.
Yeah, I gotta use something. And so, but no, something that I thought about is, and you guys tell me if I'm wrong. So like
I will.
this was a thought that came up like when we're talking about sin, like, and death, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like something that was going through in my mind is like sin still demands, like, I don't know how to say it, but still demands death. It's
For sure,
either
100%.
it's either like us giving into that and something like dying within us, or us going to Jesus and saying, hey, kind of thing. Does that make sense? Or am
Can
I
you rephrase?
like, it's kind of like, because like we talk about sacrifice, right? Like, and so like when it comes to sin, it's like, okay, it still demands death.
Dying
Like,
to self.
it's
That's-
either dying to self or
Yeah.
dying to that sin. Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
You either die in your sin or you're dying to self to be in relationship with
To
God.
be covered by the
That's-
blood
Yeah,
of Christ.
that's what was going on in my mind.
Yeah,
Am
I get
am
you.
Correct? Is that
Yeah.
is that good?
I mean, that's
Yeah.
scripture too. It's literally take up your cross, follow
Daily,
me,
yeah.
and literally take
I'm
up
not
your cross
laughing at
daily.
that. I'm
No,
laughing at something I said yesterday.
Oh. but yeah, literally like die to yourself.
Yeah.
He said, and so like sometimes we also think of like, oh, like being a Christian, like you said,
Mhm.
either we live in this sin and it is killing us
Yep.
and will kill us and we'll die to that,
Yep.
or we die to our selfish nature,
Yeah.
kill our selfish nature,
Yep.
and like actually get to be one with God, and
that's
yeah.
I feel like that's
Mhm.
where it's like
it still demands death.
yeah, exactly.
Either
That's what
way.
I'm saying.
Did we talk about divinity?
I feel like we
mentioned divinity. Yeah.
talk
We talked about.
Do we like?
I think
there
so.
something
Do
you'd
more
like
you want
to
to
add?
add?
Yeah. Is there something you would like to add, Kat?
What would
I
you
would
like to
add-
insert?
Well, yeah, you talked about how only God can save. No human effort can bring us there.
Yeah.
His sacrifice has infinite value because of his divinity. We did talk about that a little bit. And then Jesus reveals God perfectly. So this verse, John 14:9 says, whoever has seen me has seen the Father. So he is,
Jesus saying that.
Yep.
Jesus is
Our
the
letters.
image of the invisible God. So he's not just a messenger of God. He is God in the flesh. I think that's all I have to add
Brooke, were you gonna say
on
something?
God's
I
divinity.
saw you flipping.
Jesus' divinity.
No, I had a verse at John 14 as well. So I was like, did you see the
Ooh.
verse? But it was John 14:6, and it's just Jesus saying like, I am the way, the truth, and the life, and no
Mhm.
one comes to the Father except through me.
Yeah.
So that is like kind of going back to the bridge a little bit, but
Yes.
it's like
Yep.
literally I'm the only way
Mm-hmm.
because of my divinity and my humanity.